Today on Do It Yourself Ken, we're going to be working on a 2002 Honda CRV. So the problem that we're having is that the car was making a brake noise and it was coming from the rear. These are the brake pads from the rear passenger side. You can see they're pretty worn down, and that noise is coming from this noise indicator. So once the pads are worn down sufficiently, this noise indicator is going to come in contact with the rotor, and the rotor is going to scrape against this noise indicator and make that brake noise that we're hearing. So these are the pads from the rear passenger side. So we're going to finish replacing the brake pads from the rear driver's side. So for this job, you're going to need a breaker bar, a ratchet, a 14mm socket, a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. The caliper pin boots on this car were brittle and torn, so we're going to also replace the caliper pin boots. You're going to need new brake pads, new brake hardware, and some brake grease. So the first step is to jack up the car and remove the tire. You can find a link for that below. This is the rear driver's side, but the process is going to be the same for the rear passenger side. So now we're going to loosen these caliper bolts with our 14mm socket and a breaker bar. Now we're going to use our ratchet with the 14mm socket to remove these bolts. So after the bolts are removed, we're going to remove the caliper. So to install our new brake pads, we're going to need this caliper piston to be all the way in, so we're going to have to push it in. There's different ways to go about this, but we're going to show you our way. So to do it our way, we're just going to need to remove this brake hardware here. So to do that, you're just going to slide it to one side and let it come out. So now with the brake hardware removed, we're going to reinstall our caliper, and we're going to screw the top bolt in all the way. So with our caliper reinstalled, we're going to use our flathead screwdriver. We're going to insert it between the brake pad that's on this side and the rotor. So you insert it in between. Try to maneuver it so you get it in there. Once you get it in there, you're just going to use it to close the caliper piston. And you can see it's closing. You're going to pull on the screwdriver. And there you go. So now with our caliper piston pushed in, I'm just going to take remove the caliper again. Take this bolt off. Take off our caliper. And then we're going to remove our old brake pad. So next we want to remove these caliper pins to grease them. So these caliper pins should move freely like this, and the point of greasing them is so they don't seize up like this one. This one here is seized up and won't move back and forth, and that's going to cause uneven brake wear. See how this one is free, this one is stuck? So that's why you want to grease your caliper pins when you change your brake pad. Since this one is seized up, we're going to see if we just hit it with a hammer, loosen it up, and then just remove these caliper pins and grease them up. So we're going to replace the boots too, so that just came off. And I just ripped the boot because, like I said, we're going to just replace this part too. So we're going to just spray some brake cleaner in here, and with a rag and a screwdriver just try to clean the inside up. So now we're going to replace our caliper pin boots. So I just want to show you the right direction of these. These have two different ends here. So this end here is going to go towards inside the car, and this end here is going to go out towards the car. So it's going to be this. It's going to be this way. So now we're going to install the new caliper pin boots. So just make sure you put them in the right way. So just going to put put them in like that. And put the one on top in. So now we're going to clean our caliper pins. This one still has the boot on it, so what we're going to do is just insert the screwdriver to help us take the boot off. This one was the one that was moving freely, and it's still kind of greasy. This one was the one that was seized, and it's not as greasy. It's definitely some buildup here. So we're just going to clean both of them. I'm just going to use some brake cleaner, just spray them down. And just use a brush to kind of like scrub them down. Wipe that down for right. So we have our caliper pins that were cleaned. So we're going to use some brake grease to grease them. Just take it. And this is so it doesn't seize up. So that's one. So we're ready to put these back in. Now we're gonna install our grease caliper pin into our boots. So we're just gonna slide them in there. And now we're gonna take the boot and slide it over the pin. So it should move freely like that. Now we're gonna install our grease bottom caliper pin. And slide the boot over it. So we cleaned this out with some brake cleaner and just reinstalled our boot pin. We did that because this was seized and this bottom pin wasn't moving like the top one was, but now it is. If you do this and your pin didn't seize, your caliper pin didn't seize and it came out fine, and it's moving as freely as the top one, you don't really need to do that brake clean that we did, but we had to. So now the next step is to remove this brake hardware. So you're just gonna use a screwdriver and pop these things out. Now we're gonna install our new brake hardware. This is gonna go in. I'm just gonna press down on it. And then this is gonna go this way. No, actually it's gonna go this way. Just make sure it clips into place. So with the new hardware in, we're just gonna put some grease on it. So before we install our new brake pads, we just want to grease them a bit on the outside. You just want to grease all the contact points. So on the outside, and then on right here and right here. Do the same thing for the other one. Okay, and just so you know, so you see this also has a noise indicator and a brake pad. This is a brand new brake pad, so the rotor is never gonna come in it's not gonna come in contact with this noise indicator until it gets worn down. Just so you know. So now we're gonna install our new brake pads. So this one is gonna go on this side. So just gonna put it in like that. So now we're gonna install the brake pad that's on this side with the noise indicator. So now we're gonna install this brake hardware here. Just gonna place it inside the caliper towards one side, and then push the other side. So it should be like this. And now we're gonna install our caliper. So now we're gonna install our caliper bolts. We're gonna use our ratchet with the 14mm socket to tighten these up. And that's how you replace the rear brake pads on a 2002 Honda CRV. Hope you found this video helpful. Save time and stress working on this car by subscribing to the channel or clicking the playlist link below. Take care.